Hi guys and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Emma. I'm going to be wrapping up the fantasy reads that I've read recently. We love alliteration. So I haven't done a wrap up in a while, and I figured that I would split it up sort of by genre. So let's just get into it. First off is The Books of Magic by Neil Gaiman. This is a graphic novel. So this is about a young boy, I don't remember his name, and does it say on the back? Oh, Tim. His name is Tim. He basically finds out that he can do magic, and it's like 3 or 4 guys kind of like come up to him and basically present him with all of this magical stuff, and they take him on different journeys. They each have their own specific jobs to do. I don't even know how to explain this. Like, the visuals were mad cool. They were weird and like intense, and it's definitely not as much of a children's book as it seems from the outside. I liked the ending and how it built up to the next sequel, but overall I just wasn't in love with it. I've liked The Sandman by Neil Gaiman a lot more, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. Next up is The Hazelwood. So, my nose is itchy. My favorite parts of this book were the grandmother's stories. We got like a few, I think maybe 3, maybe 4 stories in here that were from like the grandmother's original storybook, which is kind of what this revolves around. And those were cool. They were haunting and like chilling, and they left you feeling uncomfortable, but like in a good way. It's like if you're going to see a horror movie, you expect to feel uncomfortable, you know? And so this left you feeling that sort of way of like, okay, this is dark. The rest of it though felt like it was kind of trying hard to be like edgy and dark, and I don't know why there was like such a difference in that, because the grandmother stories I thought were really well written. I was honestly just like a little bit underwhelmed by it, and I don't think I'm going to continue with the series, but I gave this one 3 stars. I also have a vlog where I read this one, so I'll have that up there if you want to watch it. Next up is Lore. This follows a girl whose name I don't remember. It was something cool. Her name is the title of the book. This follows Lore Perseus. Basically, it's about like this thing that happens every 7 years for a 7-day period, and it's like a hunt, basically, against the gods. And it's all of these bloodlines of families that were like the bloodlines of heroes. If you kill a god in that 7-day period, you obtain their powers. And it's obviously an honor, it's godliness. I liked the beginning. I was interested, you know, I liked the boxer angle. I thought that was pretty cool. But once I realized that I was loving it because of all the Greek mythology references, well, I started to like it less because I realized that was like the only thing that was really keeping me interested. I was like, oh my god, she mentioned Achilles. Ah, and it just, you know, it sustained me. Overall, there were some cool things that happened and some like plot twists, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was entertaining, but I wasn't dying to know what happened next most of the time, so I ended up giving this one 3 stars as well. Next, I read the rest of the Grisha trilogy. I've read the first book sometime last year, and now I read these. I also have a vlog on these ones, so I'll have that up there too. But first off, let me just give you kind of a rundown of my thoughts. I gave this one 4 stars. You get into some action pretty early on, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna be like really heavy in the beginning, and then it's just gonna get really boring throughout the rest. But it actually worked because you didn't really need to build up to anything. There was like a little bit of build up in the beginning, but at the end of Shadow and Bone, you leave off somewhere and you want to know what's going to happen next. And so it was nice that they kind of went into that, and then some action started. And it felt a lot more like the inciting incident of the novel than like the big climax of the novel, because a lot more happens. It wasn't like all of the big action happened only at the beginning. I heard a lot of people saying that this was like the worst one, or the one they had the hardest time getting through, and I remember there being a couple slow parts for me, but overall I really enjoyed it. There were some sad times, not gonna lie, but I did enjoy it a lot. The next one I also gave 4 stars. I had a hard time with this one at the beginning because one of my favorite characters was absent from it, and the Apparat annoys me and creeps me out, and just like He was very prominent in the beginning. It just felt like the beginning took a really long time to get started, which it makes sense because she was, I can't say spoilers, but just the Apparat, like, I can't, I couldn't handle him. Like, I really hate him so much. He's done some bad stuff, but it's not even like I hate him for that. He's just annoying. Like, Leigh Bardugo did a really good job of making him just like one of those people you don't want to be around. But I would say that the rest of the book and the end of the book was really entertaining, and it left me feeling content and heartbroken at the same time. So yeah. And lastly, I read Cinderellas Dead. The first third of this book stressed me out more than the entirety of I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It was so stressful. She did not think through some of her actions. She did not strategize. She was just like going for it, and I was like, oh my god, frantically flipping pages, like, oh my god, like, I know she's probably gonna stay alive because she's the main character of the book. You know, they don't usually die within like the first 50 pages, but I was still like, ugh. I also had some issues with it because there were some things that just seemed like painfully obvious to me that once they found out, they were like, whoa. And it was just like, you didn't see that coming like at all? I think maybe at this point I've read a lot of fantasy, and so there's certain things that I can sort of recognize. Not saying that it was like super tropey and that it followed a lot of the same things, but there's like pointers to things. And I don't want to say anything because of spoilers, but there's just like a couple things where you're like, okay, that probably means this, and you can reason it out. And I guess they probably haven't read a lot of fantasy novels. The only thing they're allowed to read is like Cinderella, so there's that. The other thing is that her character fluctuates a lot, it seems. In the beginning, she's this like badass, hot-headed rebel, and she's like, fuck the king, fuck the man, and it's great. And you're just like, you're nervous because you're like, oh, she's gonna get herself killed, but you like her energy, you know? And then a little bit later, she's like, but rules are rules. How could you say that this isn't true? Oh my god. And it's like, what happened to your values, dude? Like, where did all of that doubt go? Like, you had all of this doubt in the system, and then you were just like, what? So that just like threw me off a little bit. Overall though, I had a really fun time with it. I gave this one 4 stars as well, and I think she's coming out with another book. I'm not sure what it is. I'll put it up here if I can find like a cover for it or something. I also really like the romance in it. I forgot to say that. I was afraid that it was gonna go one way and then it went this way, and I was like, oh my god, yes. Yeah, it just made me happy.